interest on car loans tax deductible, as well as his plans to renegotiate his signature trade deal, USMCA. You made some news in your Detroit speech with new proposals, but I want to get your take on your economic policy. First, debt and deficits, because you've said you want to eliminate taxes on tips, eliminate taxes on Social Security, on overtime pay, ending the double taxation of Americans living abroad, a proposal to make car loans interest tax deductible.
That was said.
You said that in Detroit. You even introduced this 15% corporate tax rate for companies who produce in America and hire American workers. But how will you pay for it? The Committee for a Responsible Budget says your plans will increase the debt by $7.5 trillion.
But they don't know.
The Wall Street Journal said that your plans will increase the debt and deficits more than Kamala Harris's.
If I do this, you're going to have car companies coming back to the country because of the taxes and the tariffs. The tariffs will protect them when they come in, so they will protect from other companies coming in, because if the other companies don't come in, they're going to have to pay massive tariffs, and that's it. So I was told, here's what was happening. China was building massive car plants, big car plants in Mexico. That's the new one. And I just spoke to the man that does it. He's a friend of mine. And I said, how's it going with Mexico? What's happening with the car plants? He said, sir, they've totally stopped. I said, why did they stop? Because they think you're going to be elected. And if you get elected, I told them, I said, if I get elected, I'm going to put a 200% tariff on every car, and you're not going to ever sell them into the United States. Because if they ever built those plants, Detroit is finished, South Carolina is finished, everything's finished. So I said, here's what you're doing. They think they're going to go over there, build the biggest plants in the world in Mexico, right opposite us, and sell them in. Not going to happen. The auto workers are way down. In the last 4 or 5 months, they've lost a lot of jobs. They're doing this ridiculous electric mandate. Everything. You sell gas-propelled cars, you sell hybrids, and you sell electric. Electric is great. It's wonderful for some people, but not for everybody. They have it mandated that all cars will be electric. It's a crazy. They don't go far enough. And as soon as I started talking about what I'm going to do, they stopped building all of the plants in Mexico. I said I was going to put tariffs. To me, tariffs are a very beautiful word. It's a word that's going to make our country rich again. Without tariffs, we have a busted country. We owe $35 trillion.
But what about the criticism, and the Journal has done this as well, that if you do put something like a 200% tariff on a product, that it's only going to mean higher prices for consumers?
It's not. No, it doesn't mean that.
It's got to be passed on somehow.
No. All I'm doing is saying, I'll put 200 or 500, I don't care. I'll put a number where they can't sell one car into the United. I don't want them to sell the car because I don't want them hurting our car companies. We're going to have a lot of companies moving into the United States. When I use 200, I'm using it as a number. I don't want their car. They will not be able to sell cars. I'm not going to let them build a factory right across the border and sell millions of cars into the United States and destroy Detroit further. We lost over the years 70% of our car. We're going to bring back those companies, and I'll tell you what, they're going to come back in spades, and they're going to come back fast, and they'll go to Michigan, and they'll go to South Carolina, they'll go all over. They'll go to different places. Tennessee is very big. But we're not going to let them sell cars from a nice new factory owned by China, located in Mexico.
So your thinking is the threat of a 200% tariff will stop them from taking the car. So you won't actually have to do it, so you're not going to actually push prices higher.
I never, until now, I said 200. I'm using that just as a figure.
But you say 200 a lot.
Oh, I'll say 100, 200, I'll say 500. I don't care. They're not going to bring cars into this country from Mexico and destroy what car companies we have left. But much more than that, I'm going to protect when a company comes to the United States. We're going to have a lot of companies come in because of all of the other things we can do. And remember, we have the real market. We have the golden market. We have the money. But if we keep running like we are for the last 3 or 4 years, we're going to lose all of that. We're going to also lose the sanctity of the dollar. People aren't going to rely on the dollar. And they're going to do that. They're going to all come back. And if they don't rely on the dollar, then I'm not going to let them sell into the United States. I'm going to tell them, look, if you're not going to rely on us as the currency of choice, then you are not going to be able to do business in the United States. You know what they're going to say? I love the dollar very much, every single one of them, because we are losing that. China is trying to take that away from us. And I'll say, by the way, I'll say the same thing to China. Like I put a 27.5% tariff on cars from China. So they haven't been able to pillage our country and close up our factories and lose our jobs. Otherwise, they'd be selling cars in here like hotcakes. And if you take a look at what they're doing to Europe, China is destroying the automobile business of Europe.
So I'm just trying to understand how you're going to pay for all of this no tax on stuff. And you said that there's a lot of fat in government
growth.
that you're going to save
No, I said,
money.
I gave you an answer, growth. We're going to grow at a level that you've never seen before.
Okay.
And we're going to have tremendous jobs, and we're going to have companies coming in left and right, and they're going to be building factories. They're going to take over empty hulks that are all over the place from companies that left.
But you've also said that there's a lot of fat in government that